Welcome back to PSC's Tech Byte. This is the final episode of this series about the Microsoft Teams Toolkit. And today I want to explain you how you can create Teams tabs, whether they are configurable or personal ones, using the SharePoint Framework template. In fact, in Teams Toolkit there is a native integration with the SharePoint Framework, and you can use Teams Toolkit to do the scaffolding of an SPFX solution. At the time of this recording it will be a 1.17.4 release of SharePoint Framework, and you can then focus on developing your web part, which will become a tab. The Teams Toolkit will create for you the manifest to do the automated provisioning of your solution, and you will not need any bicep template because there are no Azure resources. In fact, the SharePoint Framework hosting will be on the SharePoint Online side. So let me move to the demo environment and let me show you how to create such kind of solutions. So, like always, here we are in Visual Studio Code, and we can create a new application using the Teams Toolkit extension for Visual Studio Code. I will select to create a new tab, and I want to use SPFX as the template for my new tab. Now the Teams Toolkit is looking for the latest version of SharePoint Framework that I have on my environment, which is actually the latest one, so 1.17.4. So I'm going to use that one. I'm going to select if I want to use the React, the minimal, or the known template for SPFX. I think React is good for this kind of scenario, so I will select React. I'm going to provide a name for my web part, which will represent the actual implementation of the Teams tab. So I can call it PSC's Tech Byte tab, just to make an example. And I will store it in the default folder for my Teams Toolkit solutions. And then I will provide a name for my application in SharePoint Framework. So it will be PSC's Tech Byte SPFX tab, just to provide a name. Now the scaffolding started. I will get the whole scaffolding of the solution, including the Teams Toolkit one and the SharePoint Framework one, as you will see soon. And now here we have the scaffolding generated. We have a nice readme with all of the instructions that we can follow to play with the solution, but we can directly dig into what we have got generated. So, first of all, in the root folder of this generated solution, we still have the app package as in any other Teams Toolkit solution, and we have the manifest as well as the one for the local environment, and we have the configuration of all of the environments as we are used to having with Teams Toolkit. The manifest is the team manifest, and here we can see that the SharePoint Framework Web part has been configured as a static tab as well as a configurable tab. We have the same syntax, and we have the reference to the component ID in SharePoint Framework, so that we rely on the Teams hosted app for SPFX in this solution. Then in the source folder, we have the actual implementation of the SharePoint Framework solution. And here we have the package.json file of our client-side SharePoint Framework solution. We have the SRC folder again, and in that one we have the web part and the PTB tab that I created. Here I have my SharePoint Framework Web part inheriting from base client-side web part, and then I have the React component because I selected to use React as the UI framework for my solution. And here in the TSX file I can see the automatically generated SharePoint Framework Web part. Now, in order to play with this solution, we can of course slightly customize the content of the web part. So welcome to, let's say, PSC's Tech Byte, so that you can see that this is our custom web part. And here, of course, using SPFX, you can do whatever you like with your SPFX solution. But if you go to the Teams Toolkit folder, you can play with it simply by pressing S5, as we have been doing with any other Teams Toolkit solution from within Visual Studio Code. So now Teams Toolkit will start installing all of the npm packages that we need for our solution, prepping the package for the solution, deploying the solution on the Teams app catalog, and making the solution available in our target environment. It will take a while, so I will fade out and fade in when it's ready. And the solution is now up and running in the browser, so we can authenticate. and we can see the output in Microsoft Teams. In fact, right now we will see the app in the app catalog of Microsoft Teams, and from there we can add it and see the tab in action inside the Teams UI. So here we are. This is the app that is showing up in the app catalog, as you can see. Here it is. I can add it to my environment. And I can see that now I have my tab running, and I can eventually enable debug scripts if I want to do debugging in Visual Studio Code of my solution. And here I can see my solution running and the welcome to PSC TechByte. Notice that by default, the solution generated by the Teams Toolkit, if we look at the manifest that we've got generated, is a solution which is based on the manifest version 1.16, and as such it will be available not only in Teams but also in Outlook and in the Office portal. Now, working with the SharePoint framework, you can easily build your own custom logic and your own custom UI and have it fully integrated with the Teams Toolkit automated deployment. Like always, thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.